everyone, it's Harley here, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Malta, a beautiful Mediterranean paradise with nice food, friendly people, beautiful views and plenty of history. I spent a week there back in June with some family and we got up to loads of stuff, and I'm going to be going through that today. Everything we did, our experiences, and hopefully inspire you to go as well. I should just note, please bear with me, this is my first video. I'm still trying to figure everything out. This is annoying, this glare up here, because that's a world map, so that would have looked sick if that were in shot fully, but oh well, maybe next time. So, day one, we had an absolute nightmare. This is the day that we got there. The flight was good, it was about 4 hours, Malta's an hour ahead in time, and, you know, no issues with the flight. We got there around 11, and we made the worst mistake I think you could possibly ever make. We got on a bus instead of getting a taxi. We couldn't understand the drivers or anything, and it was flying around the corners like, it was just proper like throwing you all over, like fucking hell. We thought we were going to fly through the window. We eventually got somewhere near our apartment, but it was pitch black and we were walking around for about 20 minutes trying to find it. But what was cool to see was there were loads of people out and about at this time, like near on midnight now, as if it's the middle of the day. There were still restaurants open everywhere. We ended up just getting a Mackey's, and then we got to the apartment and we tried some Maltese drinks. Chisk lager, which was very nice, and a drink called Kinney, which I didn't really like, to be honest. Didn't sleep whatsoever the entire night. There was a noisy air conditioner in my room, and it took me until the morning to realise I could have just turned it off at the wall. Yeah, I felt like a retard. Through the night though, whilst I were awake, I heard the odd like bang, fireworks apparently. And yes, I am reading off notes, but like I said, it's my first video, so just fireworks and petards. And this is like traditional village festivals called festas. And you just hear these through the night. Day 2, after a bad night's sleep or no sleep, we went to the Malta Car Museum, the classic car museum. Now, I don't really know anything about cars, but it was cool to see all the, you know, old and vintage vehicles there. I'll pop some up on screen and find out the names of some of them and the models. But if you've got anything to add, please comment down below. After that, we had our first proper look at the coast in St. Paul's Bay. Beautiful blue water, way cleaner than, you know, Skeggy Beach or the River Thames. The only thing I would say though is, in St. Paul's Bay, the beaches that we went to were very like rocky and painful on the feet. They were more like rock beaches rather than sand beaches. And then we went over to the Malta National Aquarium, and just near that was a Cafe Del Mar. We did see on one of the nights everyone wearing white, like pure white, trousers and tops, and people pulling up in Lamborghinis and Maseratis. So I'm not sure if it's like a rich kids club or what, but it looked pretty cool. In the aquarium, we saw, you know, just what you'd expect. Fish and sharks and rays. A few like weird creatures as well, you know, some spiders, scorpions, lizards. I'll put some pictures on screen, some videos. After that, we had some nice seaside drinks. And then we went to Popeye Village, which was really cool. Basically, it was built in 1979 by Paramount and Disney. And it was a film set for the Popeye film made in 1980 starring Robin Williams. And they decided to preserve the set and make it into a tourist attraction. There was loads of stuff there. Really good spot right on the cliffside, and there were live actors just, you know, coming up to you. There were a guy dressed as Popeye and the other characters. I'm not too familiar with it, but there was also a mini museum, a mini theatre where you could get free popcorn, which was cool. And, you know, merch shop. There was stuff where you could go like paragliding and, you know, go on a boat as well. So, day 3, we went to Valletta, which is the capital of Malta. We got the ferry over from Sliema, and this city is incredible. I'm going to put some pictures on screen, and just look at the streets, how beautiful it is. I'll go into the history of Valletta in a bit, because it's got quite a bit of backstory. And then we went to the St. John's Cathedral. I'm going to put some pictures on screen again. In this cathedral, there were flags of the British Empire and their colonies, like Canada, New Zealand, Australia, all that. American flags as well. And this is just as a token of respect to the Allied forces. The Nazis heavily bombed Malta. It was one of the most bombed places in World War II. It was a strategic position in the Mediterranean, and the British had multiple RAF bases there. The British took control of Malta in 1800, just 2 years after Napoleon's occupation. Napoleon took control after he defeated the Knights Hospitaller in 1798. We then went to the Basilica of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. We got some really good pictures in there. Take a look on your screen. Loads of interesting things in there. I'm going to put something on which tells you a bit of history. Then we had a look at St. George's Square and Republic Square, and we got a nice ice cream. We found this huge staircase which we didn't go up because we didn't see anyone else walking up there. Here's some pictures of some cool statues and structures we found around the top of Valletta. Here's some pictures and videos of the top of Valletta. The views from there were incredible. Again, that beautiful blue Mediterranean Sea is just a wonderful sight. I also saw the biggest cruise ship I have ever seen in my life. Honestly, the camera does not do it justice. And then we went to the Sacra Infermeria, which was built by the Knights Hospitaller in the 1500s. This was a massive underground multi-storey hospital used to treat sick and injured people, mainly soldiers. Great Siege of Malta in 1565. This is when the Ottomans tried to invade Malta, and they were held off by the Knights Hospitaller. 1,000 beds over that, which means it was an incredibly large underground hospital. It's now a Mediterranean conference centre, and whilst we were there, we got the very final tour of it for a while. So Valletta was only founded in 1566, a year after the Great Siege of Malta, and the Knights Hospitaller, or the Knights of St. John, built it up to create a stronghold and a fortress and a fortified city to defend against future Ottoman attacks. The old capital was Mdina, which we also went to, which you'll see later on in the video. On day 4 we visited Mdina, which is the old capital of Malta, and this is an incredible and beautiful ancient walled city fortress. Loads of interesting things there. It's got thousands of years of history, so if I start talking about it, I'm going to be here forever. I'm going to link some reading and some articles in the description, which I'll also mention at the end of the video. But if you're just interested in the touristy stuff, Mdina was the old capital, and they made Valletta the new capital of Malta in 1570. After having a general look around Mdina, the first building we went inside was St. Paul's Cathedral. Now, this was an incredible cathedral. We got loads of good pictures from there, and it was also a mini museum as well in part of it. On this day as well, I surprised my nan and my uncle by bringing my dad along. He wasn't meant to come originally, but I knew he'd booked a flight later on, and they didn't, and you should have seen the shock on my nan's face. It was incredible. I wish I recorded it actually. So after we'd finished up in Mdina, we went to this restaurant. I can't remember everywhere we ate. We ate in loads of different restaurants, loads of nice places. But this one, we all had a chisk, and my dad tried swordfish. And I'm not a fan of seafood whatsoever, but I tried this swordfish and I thought it was disgusting. I thought it tasted like algae. I know that might be insulting to some people, but it's really just not my thing. It just tasted horrible. After that, we went to Mosta, and we went to the huge Mosta Rotunda. Now, this is a gigantic building, and the interior is incredible. There's also, I'm going to put on screen, a old World War II air raid shelter just outside it. And in World War II, a bomb actually hit through the top of the dome of Mosta Rotunda, but never exploded. And they've got that preserved in the museum bit in there. And whilst we were there inside, we noticed a lot of people lining up in suits and dresses. And it turns out we'd accidentally gate crashed a wedding. There was a wedding going on at the Rotunda, but anyone could still walk in. So when we went outside, we saw the car come, and there was also a band as well. Not sure what kind of wedding it was, maybe military or something, but I'll play the video now. And then to finish the day off, we went to this beach restaurant. We had a cheeky swim again. And at this restaurant, this orange cat kept coming up to us and harassing us. Now, it seemed friendly enough, but I don't know about you guys, I'm a bit funny when it comes to animals when I'm abroad. Even dogs and cats, because, you know, obviously it's a different country and you just don't know what they've got, you know. You don't know if they've got rabies. So, day 5, we started off by going to Sliema. Now, I didn't get many pictures from Sliema. By the way, all these pictures on the video, they're all taken on my phone. But I do have more on my DJI, but that's what I'm recording on right now. So, I'll have to look through later and see if I can replace any of them. One interesting thing I did see in Sliema, again, I don't think I've got a picture of it, I've just had a look. This old church right in between two big buildings, as if they've built around it and just left that there how it was, which was cool. Then we went on a cruise around the area. It went round Valletta, Sliema, Fort St. Elmo. There was this place as well, which I can't remember the name of, where, you know, two big walls meet, you know, it's for ships coming in, and now I can't remember what it's called. But that was cool. They told us a lot of history and stuff and pointed out loads of things. There was loads of huge Italian Navy ships in the area as well, which was good to see. I don't mind boat trips and, you know, cruises, as long as the waves aren't too choppy and stuff, because otherwise I'd just... After that tour, it dropped us off in Valletta, and from there we just went around Valletta again. Went to a few pubs, had a few pints of chisk, found this weird green door. It was the entrance to a restaurant, and it made for a good Instagram picture. Well, not so good, because I looked goofy as fuck in that picture. We went to this rooftop view on top of this building, and it gave us a nice look at the skyline. And what's interesting is Valletta almost seems like a separate island from, depending on where you look at it. It's not, but it almost is. But it's interesting to see the separation between Valletta and Sliema and the surrounding areas. And here's just some pictures of Valletta again, but this time at evening. Again, it looks really nice with the sun coming down and stuff. It's definitely a whole different vibe. Day 6, we went on this ferry to Gozo and Comino Island. These are these two separate islands from Malta. Gozo's a bit populated. Comino Island apparently only has a population of 2. Probably people who were looking after the island. Gozo was kind of similar to the rest of Malta, but there was some proper cheap stuff there. We found £1 magnets, £1 key rings. You know, just it was way cheaper than mainland Malta for some reason. But you know, some nice sights, a lot of interesting architecture, but people just getting on with their normal lives. On the ferry, by the way, I felt really sick. I went to the back of the boat, and I had to put my head over the sea. And luckily I didn't puke her out, but I were about to. And I saw these same people on the way there, in between Gozo and Comino, and on the way back, 3 times. came out to be sick off the end of the boat, like 3 times, and it was all the same people. It was so funny. They just came out in a line and just started just off at boat. And then we went on Comino Island. Now, I have mixed opinions about this because it was meant to be like a party island for a bit. Now, a lot of big, massive cruise ships were in like the Blue Lagoon area. People jumping off the top of the boats and stuff. They were selling drinks all around. But it was like, there was a lot of food stalls and that. And the way it were like, it kind of just felt like skeggy, you know what I mean? And then another thing was safety. The things were like on the edge of a cliff. You know, some of these food stalls. And I almost slipped at one point. I slipped into this lass and got sand all over her. Luckily, she didn't slap me. She was like, "Oh, are you alright? Are you alright?" But it was nice to see the Blue Lagoon sea. But when we did go for a swim, I got stung by a jellyfish. And the worst part is we were away from everyone else. We saw the main bit where everyone were partying and drinking and that. And we thought, yeah, I don't really want to go in that crowded area. Went to this other bit on the other side of the island. Got stung instantly by a jellyfish like 20 seconds in. It was proper nasty and just like painful. It was so irritating as well, and I had to get this weird cream later on. But we had to find the first aid thing. And it's like, that was on, you know, we had to walk along edge of cliffs and everything to get to it. It was so far away. I mean, that is kind of our own fault for going our own way. But all they did was just pour some vinegar on it. As if it happens quite a lot, which it probably does. But trust me, I didn't see the jellyfish. I didn't see what breed or colour it were. But if I'd have found that after it stung me, I'd have picked it up and I'd have strangled it. Day 7, we went all the way to Marshallock, something like that. I'm going to spell it out on screen. All the way at the other side of Malta. But again, it's such a small country that you can just get there in like half an hour. This is a fishing village. It was really cool to see all the boats and the nice blue sea again. Because of where it is, there's a lot of like crabs and fish and stuff like that you'll see on the pavement and stuff. But there were little markets where you could get like fresh fruit, fresh fish, just all sorts of stuff really. And then we had a massive pint, and we also went to this restaurant. And for starters, at this restaurant, people were having this, I forgot what it was called now, like whitebait or something. Little deep fried, tiny little fish. But it's like having crisps, but you're literally eating a full fish in batter. And we met up with some great cousins. Is that even a word, great cousins? Like, is that even a thing? Just gonna have a look. I'm not sure. I think they're my second cousins or something. It's my nan's Maltese cousins, so we do have Maltese family, which is cool. And they just told us a bit about the area and, you know, what it's like living there. And it seems like a nice place to live. They didn't mention any problems, really. Now, day 8 was just the flight back, but because we didn't do much on this day, we just walked around. The flight was really late, so we just went to some pubs, walked around. But I'm going to put some pictures of some food on screen that we've had, because I realise I've not really put any food pictures on, so just enjoy this food porn. It's lovely stuff. Now I'm going to do a little merch review. You're going to see what I've bought from Malta. Starting off with a few magnets. We've got one of Mdina. This is from Gozo, one of the £1 ones, €1. Same with this one. There's a Knight of St. John. Got a Malta one. Got one from the Aquarium. We've got a car museum one. Classic car museum. We've got this Malta reg plate thing, which I've nicely displayed on my wall. I got these two just to put on my shelves. Pretty cool. That's another Knight of St. John. And we've got a plate depicting all the places in Malta. This is also from Malta, this hat. As well as the one that you saw earlier. This one, pretty cool. So we've got this key ring. It says Malta and Gozo. I've got some patches, which I'm going to put on an RAF bag, because I feel like that's a pretty good one to attach patches to. We've got some Malta playing cards, which is literally just regular cards, but on the back of it, it's got one of these, St. John's Cross. I also got a lighter, which comes in this cool case. Solid metal case. If we look inside, there we go. I'm going to show you the actual lighter. Look at that, how nice is that? Now the thing is, for some reason, I don't think it works. No, not really. It just keeps sparking like that. See what I mean? I can't get it to actually stay on. Now it has been stored sideways, bear in mind, in the drawer for about 6 months. So I don't know why it's not working fully, but it was working. So it might be my fault, I'm not sure. Okay, and that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, it's my first video, so any criticism or feedback will be greatly appreciated. If you liked the video, let me know in the comments. If you thought it was shite, let me know in the comments. I spent a lot of time making this video, so I would appreciate it if you'd stick around and give me a chance. The next video will possibly either be about my trip to New York a few months ago, or the trip to the Royal International Air Tattoo in Fairford, which was also a few months ago. So stick around for that.